Some adult
was there too. Let's see.
Was he here today?
Should be.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, is that everybody we're going to have for the start of this?
Yeah. Let's get right on the lead so you can extend it.
Yep, mine's on. Nope, chop. All right, can you hear us, Bill?
Yep.
Super. All right, well, it's 2 o'clock. Happy afternoon to everybody. Welcome to the March 15th regular meeting of Board of Directors for Mojave Air and Spaceport. Carrie, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance today?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call. Director Deaver.
Here.
Here. Director Morgan.
Present.
Director Valentine.
Here.
And Director Barney is here. Approval of the agenda.
Most approved.
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote. Director Deaver.
Aye.
Director Coleman.
Aye.
Director Morgan.
Aye.
And Director Valentine.
Aye.
And Director Barney is aye. Agenda is approved. Any community announcements today? Carrie, do we have anybody in the waiting room?
Nope, not in the waiting room. And they can unmute themselves. So
okay. All right. Sorry, I'm always going to ask you because I can't look at it. Yep. So I'm going to bug you every single time.
Yep, no problem.
Well, I guess if there's nobody online, is there any community?
Yeah, there are people online, but they're not.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. So any community announcements from any members of the public? Giving it a good time count. All right. Any community announcement from anyone in the room? Any members of the board? All right, we do have Plain Crazy coming up this Saturday, and the presenter is going to be a structural engineer from Rock. It's Mason who'll be presenting. So I'm really hoping to hear about at what point an aerospace project becomes a civil engineering project. Please laugh at my jokes. Thank you.
Civil engineering means...
It's the size of a building.
Okay. I thought that could imply that it stays on the ground.
Rude.
Okay.
Very rude. Right. And not what I implied at all.
Okay, that's kind of thinking civil engineering. Right.
I've seen it in the air. Quite a lot. Okay, well, if we have no other community announcements, so the items on the consent agenda. Is there anybody who wants to discuss any items on the consent agenda? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda items A and B.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Director Deaver.
Aye.
Director Coleman.
Aye.
Director Morgan.
Aye.
Director Valentine.
Aye.
And Director Barney is aye. Consent agenda is approved. We have no action items. So moving straight on to CEO GM report.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. So one of the things that we have noticed as a result of the Russian invasion of Ukraine is a significant increase in hacking attacks. Over the weekend, we had approximately 9,000 hacking attacks. To put that in context, over a typical weekend, we will receive between 500 and 1,000, maybe 1,500 hacking attacks. This weekend was obviously significantly greater than that. Our system held up well, and conversations with Director Jason Buck and others, they kind of put it like this. The computer system is kind of like a car that's running fine, perfectly maintained, and the driver not wearing a seatbelt. You can have a wreck and the driver still get killed, even though the car was perfectly fine before this accident occurred. We're in the process of preparing a cybersecurity brief for the board that will be presented to the board in closed session if not next meeting, the meeting after that. So we'll be bringing more up to speed on cybersecurity here at Mojave Air and Spaceport. We've made contact with the folks in Washington regarding the contract tower program, and we are going to continue pursuing that. Things are looking positive. They're moving at the speed of government, and but we're on the list to enter the federal contract tower program, which is a very good thing. What that means for us is that all of our overhead for the operation of the tower will be billed to the federal government, and they will reimburse us for what we spend throughout the year. It's a very good program. Look forward to being part of it.
So we would still run it?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
We'll do everything.
But we'll just get reimbursed for, oh, I love that.
Is that different than now? Do we pay for?
Yeah, we pay everything out. We don't get reimbursed.
What cost is that, like on an annual basis, approximately?
Oh gosh, last year, I won't speak to last year. It was about $1 million.
Yeah.
1.7, something like that. Between $1 million and 1.5 million.
But we're including some of the, the upgrades that we did to the tower. I think as far as salaries, there's the personnel. I think we're about 250 to 300,000 as far as just the salary personnel.
But then when you add the servers and maybe the radios and the equipment that's in there and the upgrades that we made, it's pretty significant.
That's an impressive addition to the budget.
Well,
by not having to pay that.
Right, exactly, and that's something we want to strive to. We've been fighting this. I know we've been fighting this for the last year for sure, and so this is something we're so close.
Do you think it would include all expenses? In other words, if you need a radio or radar?
Yeah, what will happen is, in addition to an overhead, whenever we have an issue with any of our equipment, they will have a contractor that is certified by FAA that will come in and work on stuff, stuff like that.
Okay.
Now, the only thing that's better is if FAA owns the equipment, owns the AWA system, owns the PAPI or VASI or whatever, all of your navigational aids. That's the only thing because at that point in time, you don't have to call them. They're on top of it.
So I'm curious what changed, because I thought, we had 12,000 operations a year and you needed 24,000 operations a year to be into that program. What finally convinced them? What's moving us closer?
Well, first of all, we have not discussed, it's never been about operations, number of operations. In my conversation with FAA, it's always been, we want you being part of the federal contract tower program. We have to get it through the Office of Management, OMB. That's what they have to do. Once we've been accepted on paper for every practical purpose except being added to the budget. That's where we are now. And so we're hoping, it looks like, with the additional funds that have been allocated as part of the build process, we're going to be made part of the program.
Question kind of related to that. The ILS 30, is that in activity yet? Is that active yet?
No, the LPV?
Right, yeah.
It is not.
Did you have to install additional equipment for that?
No equipment. It's a matter of letters of agreement.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And so, here's what everybody signed off on the letter of agreement.
Okay.
Now.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to find out, and what Josh and I both have been calling about a lot recently, is when is it going to be published? When is it going to be published? And so everybody we're asking, they don't know. They're trying to find the answer.
Yeah, it was going to be last December, and so people are asking me. They're going, "Hey, when's the ILS coming in?"
I'm in the same boat.
Well, the equivalent of ILS.
Yeah, it's still considered a non-precision approach from a regulatory standpoint, but it does provide both horizontal and vertical guidance, and it does take you down to
200 feet. Yeah, that's GPS ILS.
Hopefully we won't ever have to use that 200 feet, but that's if we need it. F-18 activity in the month of February, we had 37 F-18s to date. In the month of March, we've had 11 or 12. I know we had a couple come in today. We had 4 unexpected on Friday. That was a good thing. We will pump them fuel as much as we possibly can. General aviation development on the pavement project, we were informed. So the GA pavement project, in our conversations with FAA, that has always been an eligible project in FAA's eyes. It's eligible for funding.
Okay.
The next step in that process is determining where it ranks from a priority standpoint. And FAA told us for the longest time, and I apologize, I didn't give you all the intricate details, but I'm going to today. They said that it ranks so low that it would probably never be funded because it's not going to compete well with other pavement projects and plus pavement project at commercial service airports, so on and so forth. So we kept fighting them, and finally they said, we'll fund your project. Well, that's the good news.
Yeah.
The bad news is they said we're not going to be able to fund it to 2024. And the reason being is because we have the runway 1230 project, which is a big ask, and they're funding that right now in 2022 and 2023. My question back to FAA was, okay, if the money that we received to do runway 1230 is more than what we need to do the runway, can we use that money and apply it to the pavement project? They said no. They said because that project on its own has to compete with other projects. So, long story short, FAA is going to, they will fund the project if we're willing to wait to 2024 to do it. That's a question, this will be a question that we'll continue to discuss as we go forward. Personally, I don't feel comfortable letting the pavement go that long from a professional standpoint. On the flip side of that coin, I have a hard time turning down free money, especially when we're talking about this money. We're going to move forward. We're going to bid the project, see what it comes out, see what the numbers come out to, and then we'll make further decisions at that point in time. Questions?
I see some the cracks have been filled recently, so continue that.
Oh, yes, sir.
Appreciate
definitely.
That.
Definitely so.
Okay.
And the problem is every time we do that, to buy a pallet of that mix that we use.
Yeah.
Well, I think we buy half a pallet for about $4,000.
Okay.
I think so. That gets expensive fast.
Mm-hmm.
So at the same time, it's better than nothing.
Yes.
And we'll continue addressing the issues. Y'all continue giving me feedback. If you see something that's not being addressed, it should be. I'm down there looking for places a lot of the time. And hopefully here within the next 2 weeks, we'll have a director of operations in here to be looking as well. But if you see something that I don't see, please let me know. And we'll continue on. That pavement down there is it's a thorn in my side.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
My understanding is there's an efficient from not tearing things up and redoing things for the additional row of hangars to replace the ones we removed. We need infrastructure in the ground, and there's a sequence there. Can you address that briefly and how this delay in funding, assuming we wait for the funding, what does it do to that whole sequence of
Okay, so a part of the pavement project is to relocate certain utilities that currently go through the area where we're planning to place new general aviation hangars. So if we have to wait to 2024, what I would propose doing is taking things such as that, the relocation of those utilities, the establishment of the recyclable oil station, the bathrooms, things that we can do on our own ahead of time, do those. So number one, we can get moving on the hangars. Number two, so we can go and have bathrooms down there that are 21st century and have an oil recycling station in place that people can dump their oil.
So you're talking about trenching across taxiways and whatnot to put in utilities and provisions for that new row of hangars, right?
That's true.
And then you'd have to fill it in and cover it up, but it would not be the final. Then you come back and grind out and repay the whole thing with the funding, assuming we wait.
Yes, but what I was thinking was a lot of what you just said is going to have to be done. That stuff's going to have to be done up front anyhow before we build the hangars. I'd like to get started on the hangars sooner rather than later.
And preferably before we resurface
Yes.
taxiways.
Yes, sir.
That's the way we've always done it.
Now, I get that, but I'm saying that there's a funding difference. Whereas if we, not sure, maybe it's a different pot of money, we wouldn't be able to fund the facility install with the FAA grant money. Is that a fair statement? We'd be paying for that anyway.
We are, the
Or
pavement install, it's crazy. I apologize for splitting hairs here, but what happens is the utility install for the hangars would not be eligible. The existing utility relocation that currently comes across the pavement anyhow, that would be eligible.
Right. So the resurfacing over the utility installation would become an additional burden on our part, potentially an incremental part,
Yes, sir.
as opposed to if we timed it right, you'd tear it up and then their funding would resurface over the top of it.
That's true.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
I don't know if it's appropriate enough. Over the years, I hear about the utilities and we need to relocate them. Do you know where those utilities are? And can you point to them? I'd like to know where they are now and
so we
where
have-
they're going.
We have
It's perfect. Right
a water and sewer line, big water and sewer line. That currently, and you'll see the general aviation area here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It comes across, it comes up the
Diagonally?
diagonal.
So it goes under all those hangars?
It comes to this, well, when it gets here, I'm not sure where it goes.
I thought we moved those.
I know, I got a giant transformer sitting next to my hangar. You know, that one with the yellow post and everything? It's huge.
I'll tell you why I thought we,
Yeah.
I don't know, we need Dave Russell. Because that was kind of the reason that the teen hangar area was repaved, was relocating some of those utilities that were
We
there.
did the pressure reducer station. That's
Well, that
how-
was out the other end.
Yeah,
I
know we
thought
did some
that was part of
movement
the, okay, I mean, you know where they're at. That's why I was kind of,
Well, and then my information, is coming from drawings I got from B.
does he have the, okay.
And he's always been right about everything else. I haven't double checked it.
Does Mel know? No?
I'll ask Mel.
Because
Sure will.
I thought we moved those. That was one reason that area got re-asphalted. Was we took that and moved it down. I thought the into the gate. That's what I thought. But they're probably still there.
I'll ask
So
Mel.
they need to dig down and find out where they're at. But somebody's got to have some documentation.
I know they did a lot of water relocation and
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
because some were eliminated and every hangar has a spout.
Right. They added that, I remember too. But there was a main line.
Okay.
I thought it was coming underneath like Dick's hangar or something right in that area.
You talking about power or water?
No, just water.
Okay, but you were referring to sewer.
Water and sewer.
We have sewer running down
I think so.
there? Wow.
There's toilets in
Because
some
we
of the
don't,
hangars.
other than
Oh,
for the
yeah,
toilets.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I don't know, I just thought,
Okay.
But, he brings up a good point because, I am finding a lot of water lines,
Yeah.
lines in general,
hmm
that I asked the question, what's that for? What's it support? And people don't know.
It's a mystery.
And that's kind of
Yeah.
scary.
we tried to capture that before Dave left, because a lot of it was just,
We'll get to the bottom of it. Any other questions on that?
Thanks.
Okay, next step, so Floyd Vanway is currently in the process of completing the permitting and certification requirements to establish our environmental clearance to establish the oil recycling facility down there.
Where's the location going to be?
The over there, close to the Steinmetz building,
Okay.
kind of on that corner is what it was planned.
Where the current bathroom is?
Close to the current bathroom,
Okay, right.
yes. Yes. And it's going to be a concrete
Yeah.
pad, obviously larger than that's necessary to accommodate the facility, but something that will, if you're working with asphalt and you mix, as well as I do, you spill fuel on it or oil petroleum product, it's going to eat it up.
Mhm.
So nice.
who's this accessible to, not the public?
The general aviation community, our general aviation.
Oh, okay, And can they bring waste, let's say their vehicles onto the airport?
Something will have to.
No, I know, it's gonna happen, but I
mean, it's
nobody
put a time.
Yeah, I'd rather dump it somewhere safe than ask for forgiveness.
I agree.
I mean, you're talking about, it's the same as the dumpsters, right? It's for airport use only.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to clarify.
Well, yeah, it's going to be for airport use only.
Absolutely, because I've seen in the past, you know, the hangers between them. That's it. Oh, that's great.
The maintenance projects. We already talked about the GA pavement. Taxiway Charlie striping will begin on this Monday. Just for clarification purposes, this will be going on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. They'll be working all day long. The taxiway will not be closed all day long. At no given time will the taxiway be closed, quote unquote. Okay. So when I say people are going to have to work all day long on Taxiway Charlie, please don't. That doesn't mean the taxiway is going to be closed. Just know people's going to be out there. Notum's going to be filed, and they'll be able to pull. Should they need to, they'll be able to pull back off the taxiway. Try to come through. April 4th, 4th, 5th, and 6th, they will be doing coring on runway 826. So on 4th, 5th, and 6th of April, that runway 826 will be closed. The purpose of this is to take core samples to provide FAA pavement condition index numbers. This is something that we have to do on every 2 years, and this is what FAA uses to determine whenever you get a report of something wrong with your pavement. This is what they go back to and say, well, okay, in 2022 the pavement was only showing as fair, not good or very good. So it's within the realm of possibility if we report that there's a lot of problems 3 or 4 years from now, they can say, yeah, that makes sense.
Do you know how many samples and where they're located? Is it the whole distance of the runway? Occasionally, like every 100 feet or something, or what's the?
It'll be some on what they'll do. Okay. From my previous experience, unless they do it different, now, I haven't asked you specifically about this, but typically what they'll do is they'll take 4 to 5 samples from one end of the runway. They'll take 4 or 5 samples in the middle in halfway distance, and 4 to 5 in the other end of the runway.
Are they bores like 1 inch diameter or something? Or
they're about the size of a soup can.
Okay.
And then after they take the core out, they fill it up and put it back the way it was.
That's
typically the only way you know that anything's ever occurred there. If you go out and look at it, you see the little seam where the asphalts meet. But typically that's it. Okay. Just be aware of that. The runway 1230 aerospace industrial launch we had here on March 2nd was very successful. It appears now that based on the time of when all the money is going to come in for that project, this project will inevitably begin probably in the March 23 timeframe. The runway will be closed for a total of 50 to 54 days, and they will work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to get the rehabilitation hopefully done at that point in time. Air show. So we received a call from the folks Foxfield. Typically, Foxfield and Edwards, back and forth, they swap having an air show at the facility. You know, Foxfield is no longer managed by Airports of the World Airport Corporation. Is now going back to LA Airports. LA Airports doesn't want to have their show there. The folks at Foxfield reached out to us, asked if we'd be interested in doing this in 2023. I said, from my perspective, yes, I would love to do that. What kind of time frame are we talking about? We can either do it early in 2023, and as a result of that, we will have it sooner rather than later, but it'll probably be very difficult to get one of the higher end performance groups, or the Thunderbirds or the Blue Angels.
Yeah, they actually 2 years in advance. That's kind of when they schedule.
So what happens is the Blue Angels, as I understand it, they practice and they do all their winter training down in
El Centro,
and so it would be very close for them. And if we did it in early March, they could pop up here from there and do the first show before
They
they
actually did the first one last weekend. The first air show last weekend.
Right.
Okay.
So that's one possibility.
Right.
Or we can plan to do it later in 2023 and try to get one of the groups that have a cancellation.
And I know that Fox either had the Blue Angels or the Thunderbirds every year for like 6 years.
Right.
And so their 2-year schedule, they may have already have it scheduled at Fox Field that would transition to here then. But
Steve, I was talking to Steve Irvin.
Okay, yeah.
And the gentleman who coordinates the show for them. And this, what he was explaining was actually just what I told you. And maybe I'll request some clarification. Maybe they will schedule.
And the requirements that both teams have is substantial. So
yes,
parking spots and all this other stuff, that's kind of, it overwhelms a lot of people.
So we started talking about finances.
Yeah. Okay.
And they told me that we could expect to spend as little as $500,000 or as much as 1.3 million. Somewhere in between.
Okay.
That's the bad news. The good news is that the first 3 years, or the first 3 times that Fox Field held the air show at Fox Field, they generated revenue over and above that what was required to have the air show.
That was Dennis Dunbar that kind of managed that.
He was on our
That was who was on the call.
Oh, okay,
It
good.
was him and Al Hoffman.
Okay, that's the guy. He's the pick for managing air shows.
Well, and the good thing about having them right here in the neighborhood is they can, they can help us. They can give us give us direction.
Right. And our property said parking is a major issue for air shows.
For cars or airplanes?
Cars.
Yeah.
People. Yeah. Parking.
That'd be a good test walk to see if we ever really want to do this type of thing.
Okay. Yeah. No. Spaceship.
What about the fact that March is usually kind of a windy month?
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the things that we could possibly be looking at. So that's one of the reasons why it would not make sense to probably try to plan this in early March. It would probably make more sense to try to plan it later in the year. Also, if we're going to try to do it in March, we want to make sure that we plan to do it before we start this runway rehabilitation project. So those climatological issues and the runway, I can see why we'd want to push it later in the year, definitely. But if we wanted to try to do it end of February, first part of March, if we could get some sort of commitment from like the Blue Angels,
right,
I would certainly push to do that. Anything else, Bill? That answer your question?
Nope, they got to answer my question. Thanks.
Yes,
So
sir.
when you say later in the year, how much later?
Well, it all hinges on how bad do we want to have the Blue Angels refund first. Because the later in the year we go, the better chance we are of getting one of those teams.
Yeah, the last air show of the year is first week in November, for reference. And like Nellis, they have the Thunderbird show over there.
Right.
Blue Angels also, but out here it's October's comfortable for weather.
Right. Yes.
So
I was gonna say, if we're not gonna do it March time frame, then we've got about another month before it just becomes unbearably hot to have people.
We don't start getting all hot till June-ish.
Yeah.
Right?
can't control the weather. That's
it's
you
true.
can't do.
But I would try to give not a freezing hell no experience or
Of course, but that's
I
what,
don't know, depending on what you're selling for drinks.
yeah, I guess if we want to make money on lemonade.
So, from my understanding, you've been consulting with Dennis Dunbar and his associates and that about the show.
Yes,
Okay.
I think consulting is probably a strong term. We've met with him, had some meetings with him.
When does
phone calls.
Fox have it?
They've had it early in the year. They've had it March and April in the past.
And it's my understanding that this year, 2022, it's to be at Edwards. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
I believe fall time, September.
Okay.
I'll look it up. But yeah, they actually haven't kicked into the every other 1 year. They've had it at Fox for like 6 years in a row, and then COVID and everything kicked in, so they never got that. Because Edwards hasn't had a show in like 15 years.
Oh, really?
That I know.
Okay.
One was
I was wondering.
10 years.
That's what I was looking.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Right.
I've never been to one.
Wow.
Robert Edwards.
2008 or 9. White Knight too. Was there. So you probably
So,
12, 13, whatever.
so when do you need to make a call on what date to hold this on?
Right at this point in time, the date is not as important as us moving forward with a commitment to them that we do want to have this here.
Right.
And we'll decide the date. after
And
that.
getting the anchor.
Right.
And you'll find the Thunderbirds and Blue Angels, a lot of shows cancel, and then you could step in that week too, but that might be short notice. But Dennis and company, they know everything. And
Right.
Could somebody like that come here and possibly allow us to ask you some questions?
Of course.
Mhm.
Because I have a lot.
Oh, that'd be great.
Right.
That'd be a great idea.
They show up in a jet sometimes for that. The Thunderbirds, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
They,
I know what you're
just,
talking
I
about.
don't know the name to see if it works.
Yeah.
Somebody that's done it, just to get a feel for.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, when you're planning an event like this from past experience, you need to start planning about a year in advance.
Yes, sir.
That's
yes.
why I'm concerned about March 2023. Or you're out.
It worked out okay at Foxfield.
Yeah.
You got somebody holding a hand.
Well, we have a little bit more wind than Fox Field does.
Sometimes.
Thank you for your input.
Mhm.
I know we have more questions than we have answers right now. We'll try to get Mr. Dunbar in here
Yeah.
and to meet with y'all.
He's-
Next board meeting, preferably.
He's the top pick for me, is Dennis Dunbar.
Got you revved up.
Excellent.
No, he is.
Cool.
He knows how to make money air show. He knows how to manage air shows.
See, that's valuable.
That good. So nice that you've associated with him.
So LA County and K9 Unit have been in here doing training with the hounds, and it's been very successful. It's been developed a very good relationship with them. Thanks to Mr. Chris Spandorf and his crew. They finished training last week. They will be back probably within the next month to do it again. Look forward to hosting them again. We're keeping an eye on security. We did have an issue a couple Sundays ago where an aircraft pulled in, parked over there by the Airbus 380s, and the owners had left the stairs to the aircraft, pushed up to the aircraft, and the door was open, and the people entered the aircraft, and security saw it occur, and the folks came out of the aircraft, got in the airplane, and left. I think it was a rental aircraft from Bakersfield, from what I understand, and no damage was occurred, but we are stepping up security in that area, and we have asked the folks, Paxton folks, to remove the steps when they're not here. Keep the door closed.
I understand looking at this, but that's pretty bold going in the aircraft.
Very bold.
It's
Yeah.
the ask forgiveness
But
thing.
Instagram post.
Yeah, we just
you
went to
know?
Mojave and
Look at my Instagram post. Yeah.
Jeez.
One thing.
There's a whole bunch of videos on the internet about people driving around Mojave Airport, driving around the boneyard, but we've been trying for 10 years to get the plane crazy to, we've got an old school bus that we can put people in it and run them through there. Nobody gets out. They keep the vehicle moving once each plane crazy. They won't let us do that, but they let all these people from out of town make all these videos.
Yes, sir.
Somebody can do it.
I had a crew from KLM that flew into LA and had a layover, and they drove over here specifically for the purpose of taking a ride through the boneyard. And this one gentleman, this one pilot, he's like, I flew that airplane. I flew that airplane. It's crazy.
We get more phone calls on, can I go see the boneyard? I answer the phone and than anything else. And we have people coming from Germany and all over the place regularly,
Sir.
just to see the boneyard, and they get here and they can't see it, or they call in advance and we have to tell them no.
Well, those A380s that just came in have drawn quite a crowd too. There's been especially a lot of Chinese tourists coming and photographing from afar,
South
just
China
passionate about those airplanes.
Airlines, South China Airlines.
One item that's not on my report, I just received this morning or yesterday morning. The 2022 Special Districts Legislative Days is going to be held in Sacramento in May 17th and 18th at the Sheraton Grand Sacramento Hotel. If you're interested in going, please see myself or Mr. Kerry Rawlings, and we will get you set up.
What's the dates?
May 17th and 18th.
It's in Sacramento.
It's in Sacramento. Keep that in mind. So the last item on my report is I want to recognize Mr. Daniel Cueto. On February 12th, on Valentine's Day weekend, Mr. Cueto and his girlfriend took the weekend, and as I understand, went to Monterey. It was Monterey Bay, and they had Joy at dinner and was walking around, just checking out the area. And they noticed a couple where they had a small infant on their back, carrying the child in the backpack, as I understand it. And when Daniel walked by and saw this individual, he recognized that something was not right from his experiences. And sure enough, the child was just about completely unconscious at that point. So come to find out, the child was choking, unbeknownst to the parents. So Daniel took the child from the Horace and started performing first aid and did the Heimlich maneuver, I guess, the baby Heimlich. Is that what you had to do?
Yes, sir. I gave the child back palpations, and then that just expelled the obstructed matter into his airway. And the way I saw the child, I thought originally he was sleeping, and then I noticed a very dangerous breathing pattern you see in the child called head bobby. And it's almost like a heaving kind of movement. I saw that, and that child was semi-unconscious. I grabbed the child from the harness, placed him in the downward position, provided the back palpation, and expelled all that matter within seconds. He started coughing, which is a very positive breathing sign for the scenario. And the mother was completely unaware. They were foreigners just visiting. And we just helped that child and went on about our night. It was a great outcome. As a first responder, this is why we train. This is why we get certified and procedures like that. And you're never really off the clock, so to speak. So we're just grateful the child was okay. We were okay. And it's fun. It's a good outcome for everybody.
As I understand it, the parents originally thought that you were trying to steal the child.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering about that.
I'm a first responder. I helped the child, and I think she had like a Russian accent or some kind of deep accent. So just spoke clearly to her. I think as any parent having a child, I think it's in a state of panic, seeing your child unconscious or semi-unconscious. And my girlfriend as well. She's a first responder. She works at the EMT in Los Angeles. So we just, we did what we had to do and went on about our night. We had a great weekend, and we didn't see Matt, but still the weekend.
Well,
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Well
sir.
done.
does anybody have any questions for Mr. Cueto?
Oh, you saved a life.
I know the incident actually happened a month on this day, so I appreciate the recognition. And like I said, we're never really off the clock. We're always want to help people, and anybody in need, we'll definitely step up to that plate.
Well, while this doesn't really sum up what you've done, as part of our appreciation, we want to present you with an Amazon gift card.
Thank you, sir.
Great.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you saved a life.
Thank you, sir.
That is no doubt an anniversary those parents will be celebrating.
That is true.
That concludes my report.
Thank you. And thank you also for sitting through the board meeting to be here and tell us the story.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you, Todd. All right, so board committee, Director Coleman and Morgan, what have you got for the branding?
No change in status.
No change in status? Is there still effort to be made? The real question.
Dan Craig.
Mhm.
Something back from Dan Craig at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we should, for now, we should dissolve the subcommittee.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, is there anything formal associated with that?
Okay.
Okay, committee is dissolved then. Thank you, guys.
Mm-hmm.
May I ask a question?
Please do.
Should I go ahead and initiate changing the name with FAA and everybody?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, with the ampersand.
Ampersand, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't require a vote or anything?
The board has already
Yeah,
authorized it in the
Right.
resolution.
Mm-hmm.
And
The resolution have A and B or the.
Well, it doesn't say. It says we'll proceed with the name change. So, I mean, that's really a minutia detail that's up to you.
I think we intentionally made the resolution as we will incorporate the routine name and then very intentionally left it otherwise ambiguous, right? So,
Yeah.
Very well. Somewhere I've
Do you-
seen a document that actually has the ampersand in there.
well, there's one right there.
mhm.
Also.
Okay, yeah.
So it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what your thoughts is, but like a informal ceremony to say you are hereby retained field and that,
Mhm.
might be a good thing to have.
So we've got
Just
the
something
50th,
simple.
we've
Yeah.
got the 50th anniversary coming up at the end of the year.
Okay.
Like, I think we should make it a pretty big bash at that
Yeah.
point, right?
You know, and
Mm-hmm.
Have them here, and that's.
yeah,
They get traced to
Right,
bring boomerang
and,
and.
right. You know, and
Mhm.
you know,
Definitely.
long easies and stuff could christen the runway or something with a
Mm-hmm.
first landing or whatever, something like that.
I think that's a great idea.
No, it is because it kind of it'll get good publicity, and then the rattan field is very worthy. So
Yeah, so what do you think about making that coincide with the 50th anniversary?
when would that be?
That's September,
Okay.
November. So yeah, it's a little ways out, but it's a nice big bash and a great excuse.
Yeah, I mean something inexpensive to just what? You know, like plane crazy. That's inexpensive.
Okay.
Right. So something like
I was trying to think. I think the last one we had, what was it, the 25-year, was with Dan, and it was not. It was in the hangar next door.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice, a little bit on the formal side,
Okay.
but it was nice. But it was not inexpensive.
I still got my can cozy from that.
Mm.
Is it every lunchtime?
But this is our 50th. And yeah,
That was a big deal.
Okay.
That's a big deal.
oh gosh, look at the change.
On Plane Crazy, we had one time we had about 35 or 40 long easies, and very easies in here. Remember that, Jimmy?
Bert's birthday bash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as the eye could see.
It'd be great to fill the place up with cans again.
Oh yeah.
Okay, any other discussion to be had on the branding? No? All right, thank you. Okay, portion of the meeting reserved for items not on the agenda.
Board of director comments.
Yes, item G. All right, did I do something wrong, Scott?
No, it should be C. I'm looking at the lettering on it. It should have been ABC, and I just found that.
It's
My
an
apologies.
arbitrary paradigm. Well, we have A, B, E, F, G. That's okay.
Oh.
That's okay.
I'll catch that next time.
All over
It looks like a backwards E. What's that? Okay.
Other
They
than
don't
our
use those.
letter, other than our lettering schema on the agenda,
Okay.
any comments not on the agenda? All right, public comment for items not on the agenda.
Hey everybody, this is Marissa from the Fitness Center.
Hey, Marissa.
How are you guys?
Good. What you got for us?
So the gym is ready to celebrate our 5-year anniversary next month. So we will be doing kind of an anniversary event week, like a 5-day event, kind of celebrating every year. And we are looking to do a Zumbathon and kind of do donations towards the Mojave Little League. So that's something we're working on. We also are going to be having membership special and some PT specials, personal training So I should have some more details on that in the next board meeting. But yeah, if you're interested in just donating for the Little League, I know they have been looking for donations, and we will keep you guys posted on that. But let us know if you have any questions.
Just what
We'll need to have to notify David Evans of your anniversary. We'll explain that later.
Okay.
It sounds like
I'm like, is he the Little League guy? Yeah. So got it.
I
So-
I don't know, I missed it.
So what dates will this be covering?
So we are looking at, I think, the middle of April for the celebration. So I believe it's the second week of April. We're kind of finalizing all the details and should have a flyer and all that good stuff at the end of this week.
Oh, super. Look forward to hearing more about it next board meeting then.
Yay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Are you getting people from off the airport, from other companies like the gold mine and wind energy or anything like that?
Yeah, so we have been in touch with Gold Queen, Denise over at Gold Queen, and she's helping to spread the word about the fitness center and getting more people over here, and hopefully getting some kind of discount for their employees down the road.
Super.
Suggestion you get some kind of press release in the Tehachapi News. I was just having lunch with a journalist from the Tehachapi News who regularly eats in the Voyager here, and he didn't know we had a fitness center in Mojave.
Yeah, we're trying to change that.
So there may be others. I mean, and he's a journalist, so there's a lot of people obviously that work here that live up there. That they make a mad dash for Tehachapi when they get out of work. It's possible they still don't know we have a fitness center here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to just get more awareness about the fitness center, and we will be doing an ad for the anniversary as well. So more to come. Thank you, guys.
Any other questions for Marissa? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Well, then I think it's time to adjourn. All right. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.
Thank you.
No closed session.
That's a good thing.